Okay, so hi. In your own words, what do you think Scoop is? Oh, you have nice shoes. I love those.
So Scoop is, it's a living cooperative.
Scoop is a communal living space that prioritizes, I guess, like the cultural and mental stability of its occupants.
Scoop is a community and a space that is there for you when you need them. It's a place where you can learn and grow and become a better version of yourself. It's a place where I spend a lot of time.
So here's what I'm gonna do. In the next 2 weeks, I'll be doing an ethnographic study of Scoop and the residents living in it. I'm interested in knowing how it is an alternative sphere of exchange and how it resists against the contemporary cultures of capitalism. But before I dive into that, I figure that it's important for us to know how did cooperative living come about. So let's start with that. The living cooperative movement in the US started during the Great Depression in the 1930s. College students lived communally in order to slash the cost of living. Although Scoop residents still pay housing fee to Wellesley, we opt out of the meal plan, which saves us a lot of money generally. But cooperative living goes way back in history. Hunter-gatherers grouped into tribes and bands of approximately 25 to 100 to hunt and forage. The idea of living communally started to change in the 15th century in the Western society. The concept of a household as a father, a mother, and their biological children caught on the European new urban middle class. This godly household owes a lot to the Protestant Reformation, in which religious leaders started to reject the Catholic Church as the center of life and replace it with a domestic divine.
Women, it seems.
As industrialization took place, people started to leave their home to go to work, commuting to factories and later on offices. Something communal was lost, and by the early 20th century, industrial efficiency allowed a lifestyle of domestic privacy. The contemporary culture of capitalism that I keep referencing in this video refer to the sense of self-interest and individualism that promotes economic growth and wealth accumulation as a result of industrialization. So why do people still opt in for cooperative living, such as Scoop, and to what extent this kind of cooperation, in anthropology we call it mutualism, redefines the way we interact with each other and resist the cultures of individualism? Instead of wealth accumulation, we focus on wealth redistribution. One main unique part of Scoop is the sharing of food.
Okay, well, the food sharing part is like the idea is that everyone's supposed to cook a communal meal at least 3 times in a 2-week period, but then, and that's normally with like dinner.
Yeah, here we have shared groceries and we like share workload around that in terms of wonderful chalkboard over there, which you can't see, it's off camera, of both kind of weekly shifts around cooking and cleaning.
What's going on here, Brianna?
I'm just making some chocolate chip pancakes and mixed berry like compote for them.
Are you making for everyone?
Yeah.
Why do you do this?
I wanted French toast sticks, but I was way too lazy to go to Tower and get them.
This seems like more work than walking to Tower.
It's cold outside. It is climate controlled indoors.
Nice feeling to just like be able to cook for people and to have people cook for you, because it's such like, I don't know, like a literal exchange of like time and affection for you, with you for like no cost, or like conveying some sort of trust that you'll do the same thing or like be a nice person or whatever.
I think that the sketchiest thing that happens in the kitchen is like the foraged mushrooms, and that is definitely a trust. Like when people ate chicken of the woods and hen of the woods when we just made them, we were like, this is the biggest leap of faith like anyone will have ever taken in this house.
And having like this kitchen culture where everyone is always drifting around this one central place. Yeah. It's like, you know, in Steve Jobs' biography, when they're talking about that like building in MIT where they only had like 1 bathroom, so everybody would or like there's some buildings where like there are only like 1 or 2 bathrooms, so everybody like is obligated to go through that space. I feel like it's really useful to have people have to go through a space. Yeah.
Social exchanges in Scoop rely heavily on generalized reciprocity, which tends to happen in close relationship where exchanges have no set time of return, and they happen so frequently that to monitor the value of each exchange is impossible. Anthropologists have long studied commensality, which is the act of eating together and how it creates and cements relationships. In Scoop, commensality evokes a temporal unification, especially around the kitchen table, in which we invest trust in each other as we cook and share meals with each other. This allows a basis for generalized exchange, and creating this positive feedback loop. When you feel good about a community, you tend to give back to it more.
For everyone in the house.
Up to this point, I realized there are 3 main kinds of generalized exchange in Scoop: time, favor, and gifts, which tends to be in the currency of baked goods and helping each other out in the household.
I brought all these donuts from a different dorm.
Altogether, I call these exchanges the social currency of Scoop.
They're so visually pleasing. So, Aline, why do you leave bus tokens for people?
I think it's like kind of part of my contribution to Scoop.
Although most times Scoop's residents perform generalized exchange, there's always a tension within each person to how balanced their contribution is to how much they take from the community.
Oh, just like cleaning up after yourself. I feel like sometimes people just like forget. And then with the stuff that builds up, it's like, whose responsibility is it? Like I don't know. There isn't like one person that is responsible for it.
Why do you still help to clean up?
I think personally it's like helpful for me because I do enjoy cleaning. At the same time, I do resent it sometimes because
As I work on this project, I found out that this tension between giving and taking within Scoop is not only manifested in how much chores we do for each other. Using a similar idea of balanced reciprocity, which refers to an equal exchange without time delay in anthropology, I observed that some Scoop residents have this mindset of balanced exchange when we pool money for groceries. But first, let's learn about the financial side of Scoop.
So I don't know if this is an official title, but like the financial manager for Scoop, and I look at our budget and help plan how much we can spend each week on groceries. So most of the residents of Scoop are off the meal plan. The way that we do communal funds and groceries is I have a conversation with every resident at the beginning of the semester, and we talk about what they feel like they can contribute within their budget to the community, and all that money is pooled together in a shared account.
So far, sharing of food and pooling of money sound like great ideas. But since the beginning of this semester, Scoop finds itself struggling financially.
What do you think happened with the 2018 Scoop financial crisis? The 2018 Scoop financial crisis in the beginning of this year.
I mean, every year, usually we have at least a mini crisis where we're like, oh no, we're running out of money. I would say that we haven't found a good balance in terms of spending, contributing, and also consuming.
Part of the confusion was that people didn't fully understand that when you come into Scoop, like regardless, like yes, we have this sliding scale, but the sliding scale makes everything equal, which is very anti-capitalistic.
While some residents are more lax about giving, some are more aware of how much they give and take from Scoop.
Where I would be happy to contribute like $1,000 or something a semester to live here, but I wouldn't be happy doing that if not everyone did that. You know, I don't want to be the only one. Again, it's like I want to match, like I don't consciously, but like subconsciously you kind of want to match like what other people are putting in.
Anyone has the right and should be able to live here no matter how much they can contribute. And if people contribute more, they're doing that with the intention that it's going to the community and not to them.
Because it assumes that like whatever is comfortable for you to give is like, that wouldn't be the same amount that someone else who is in a different situation than you is comfortable for you to have. And that's like a weird at first for people to like adjust to, coming from like an outside community coming into the States. It's like, yeah, no, like no matter how much money you put in, like it doesn't matter.
And I remember you saying that since like people who are paying on the higher scale, we have more Like we should.
Wait, that's not what I was saying. And I guess I kind of said that because we're not like allowed to buy certain foods with communal funds, I said that I would just contribute less to the communal fund and spend my personal money on these goods, but then see that as like a contribution to the community.
So it's the last few days of the semester and we are really running out of money. This is our fridge right now and we are rationing food and money. A few things popped up when I was investigating about the financial side of Scoop. Firstly, we as a group eat more food and share more food communally this year, which is a good thing, but it also means that we're spending more on grocery. So that's first. Secondly, we have a very high turnover rate this year, and not everyone is on the same page in terms of how we give, consume, and take from the community. So this leads to what I was describing as a very balanced exchange in Scoop, which means that you give what you take. However, I think historically Scoop really thrives on this culture of generalized exchange, which is an interaction that leverages on the residents' altruism and selfless goodwill to the community. And this is possible because Scoop residents don't actively put value on their contribution to this community, which makes this pool of what I called the social currency of Scoop bigger than what it perceives to be. I started this project hoping to see Scoop as an alternative sphere of exchange than our ordinary capitalist society that is entrenched in self-interest and performance maximization. But balanced exchange in Scoop is a sign of this capitalistic culture, and although residents of Scoop chose to opt out of the system, they're still encultured in capitalism. Having been a member of this community for more than 1.5 years now, I appreciate the intentionality and the exercise of putting others and the community's interests first before my own. It is so uncomfortable and mind-twisting sometimes, but I gain what I rarely get from the wider Wellesley campus. I could call a group of what used to be strangers my family and my home away from home. In a way, I see Scoop as a quasi-utopian society where we all champion sustainability, intentionality, and love.